This video is about Deathrun. Deathrun has a red team, which is like 30 people, just be like running through the map, you know, some servers have B-hop, that's pretty important. And then the blue guy, which is the activator, he gets to activate those traps, and then they kill him, he has to kill them all. And I guess if the red guys make it to the end of the map, they win usually. I have a pretty long history with this mode because I played this when I first downloaded Team Fortress 2, you know, back in like 2014 actually. I really wanted to play like the regular game because I saw it on like YouTube, being played by like this one guy. He was a soldier, man. I can't remember his name exactly. But here's the thing though, TF2 is actually quite a hard game to run.
What the heck? Come on! Slow computer! Oh, wait!
So a lot of my time was instead spent on Deathrun because it didn't have, you know, a lot of that like explosions or like particle effects, you know, those weren't really used there. It was a lot better for my poor PC that died due to being plugged in wrong. Nowadays though, pretty much every single Deathrun server is pretty dead. The sad thing about all of this is that some of these maps, especially the ones created for TF2, I don't know about Gmod or like other ones, Gmod probably has a ton as well. There was such a huge amount of effort put into these maps. I mean, some of these, like Deathrun, like PlayStation, took literal years of working on effort from the developer to actually finish. I think it would be cool to, you know, just go back and look through these, you know, see how they hold up now. Now this is a true classic of a map. This is in the same realm as The Thing, 1982. A fantastic and memorable map that was just ahead of its time. Why is it so good? Well, I mean, there's no real reason, probably. It's just kind of nostalgia, if I'm being honest, but there is stuff I want to talk about with this one. For example, you have this pretty genius music room Easter egg, where you have to time going into the trap at the right time, and then waiting out the trap before you can run in. They got all the best songs in here, too. They got In Bloom, Pink Floyd, and the one everyone played all the time, Gold Keys. This is pretty much the only Easter egg present in this version of the map, but there was actually a bunch of Easter eggs that got removed in later versions. I don't have any footage of this one, but you used to be able to escape this trap somehow, and then go onto a capture point, which I don't think served any purpose, but it's been removed in this version of the map. The other Easter egg was with this Demo Man trap. Once it got activated and Demo pokes his fat ass out, you could actually just run inside. In this new version, there's instead a wooden plank placed there to stop you from going through. Why was this removed? Because behind the door was a teleport that lets you skip like literally half the map. I have no idea what the creator was thinking when he added this, but it's pretty funny. Also, the minigame on this map sucks. This one is another classic. This one for reasons that I can actually state. Despite using these default ass textures everywhere, it manages to have this really nice snow theme to it at the same time. This whole map is actually based off of a popular TF2 SFM animation from back in the day made by Dr. Face. And this shitpost itself seems to have been inspired probably entirely by this movie clip with Arnold Schwarzenegger pronouncing cocaine in kind of a funny way. Anyway, let me mention the ending minigames and stuff real quick, because they're pretty cool. You got Soviet Run, where you run from Stalin in order to make it to America. This is just straight up some of the best early 2010s humor, and something that would go on to inspire another Deathrun map greatly. Then you got Skyfall, which is great if for no other reason than it uses Sone as the song, which fits surprisingly well actually, and it's just a great song overall, so. And then you have the absolute peak, Humiliation. And that is basically Cocainium, and it's probably one of the best Deathrun maps ever created. And you know why it's so good? Because it was made for HMX servers, baby! Fuck! I don't have as much to say about this map as I do the others, but it picks a really nice horror theme and sticks to it for the most part. The ambience is really nice and the whole map keeps it from beginning to end. While this isn't completely unique, as there are a few other maps that did this, I think Iconian is able to match it throughout the best. Other than the Zelda music Easter egg, but the music is awesome, so it gets a pass. Also, the beginning room is fully based off of the movie The Cube, so that automatically gives it another 3 points on the Deathrun map tier list. But hey, since I don't have as much to say about this map, I'll let my friend give a few thoughts on it.
I don't know why I quite like it, because it's not as creative as the other ones that I'm gonna be going over, but it just had this like nice feel. This fucking like this kind of hallway is just like so unnatural. Like it's like the old graphics kind of horror game.
The art style and atmosphere of this map is legitimately unmatched by any other Deathrun map, and I would argue probably any map in Team Fortress 2. Like, this shit is legit sick. It looks like there's stylized drawings of a madman just literally everywhere. And I got my goat Jeff the Killer for one of the traps as well. Truly exquisite level design. The soundtrack is also super good. It's got such a wide range of tracks, most of which I don't even recognize. I remember the developer had a list of songs for his map posted somewhere, but I can't seem to find it anymore, sadly. I also want to mention one of the minigames, specifically the spinner. This is nothing new, a lot of Deathrun maps have this, but the music chosen for this and the sheer perfect ramp up in intensity with the music makes this one stand out. I even remember seeing a select few clinically insane people manage to stalemate on this. Also, it has a pretty cool Easter egg where if this trap gets activated, you can drop into this little crawl space here, and then be teleported out with a speed boost and infinite jump. Then if you run over here, you could jump over this and make it into the 69 room. This is just a credits room, but it's pretty cool. It's quite detailed, and also just has this weird gif here for some reason. If I were a teacher scoring Deathrun maps on style, Psychopath would get a Tony Montana dollar bill. The sequel. This one I don't think is as good as the first one, but it is still pretty awesome. It has this room with a projector playing COD Zombies on the wall, and a COD Zombies Easter egg song playing, which is probably the best part of the map. I really like the art style of this map still, though it's not as good with the soundtrack. It still has some cool stuff, just nothing that really sticks out as much as it did in the first one. The minigames also have been unfortunately significantly downgraded. The spinner minigame especially is no longer as cool, just being a rope, but I guess it's still alright. This map also uses multiple choice doors, which is kinda lame considering the original didn't use any at all. The Easter egg is pretty cool, but it's very rarely doable because the activator has to activate only the trap for this pillar, and then from there you jump up to this platform, to the TV, you hit that, and then you can go into this door, shoot up and shoot down, walk forward, and you're in the credits room. Which in my opinion is also a bit of a downgrade. It doesn't have the cool music and it's less detailed overall, but it does link into the spectator cam, which is actually a pretty cool feature. If I were a teacher scoring Deathrun maps on style, Psychopath 2 would get a B. In terms of pure map design, this map isn't the absolute best. By no means is it bad, but it just isn't as awesome or memorable as some of the other maps I mentioned. Where this map absolutely shines is in its Easter eggs and minigames. To start with the Easter egg, you gotta break the wall and grab this potion, hit this lamppost, go into this hole while small, and do a parkour course, which is actually really fucking difficult with the speed boost and third person. Your depth perception is impacted way more than you would expect. If you manage this, you get to go into a music room that has probably some of the strangest selection of songs I've ever seen, but it is still a pretty cool Easter egg. Unlike literally every other map I talk about in this video, instead of being able to just choose a specific minigame, you can go instant win, or you can spin the wheel for a minigame. And there's a huge amount too. To start, there's this one, which is just a parkour course between you and the activator, but it is probably one of the better parkour courses I've seen in a Deathrun map. It's pretty damn fun overall. Then there's this Domino's Pizza minigame, which you for some reason get way more often than any of the other minigames, from my experience at least. I can really relate to this one, but unfortunately the minigame is only alright. It's kind of fun, but it goes on for 2 whole minutes, which is way too long, and the intensity is never as high as I would want it to be. I for some reason remember this being a lot harder. I'm not sure if it changes with the amount of players remaining or what, but I found this to be really easy when playing it again. Next up is the hentai minigame. In this one, you go through these highly pleasant textures, and the map is filled with like 50 billion choice doors, and you just gotta guess which one's right. Watch out for the image of the policeman chasing you as well. This minigame sucks, but it is pretty funny, and I can credit most of that to the image of the policeman. The Wii Sports minigame is actually pretty fun. You just gotta avoid these bowling balls that are being rolled towards you. It has a decent bit of difficulty to it, with how it'll make you go from one side to the other super fast. It's pretty fun. This one has the most insane amount of mechanical depth, and I think the best way to demonstrate would be to just show it to you. There's also this minigame, which is just a pretty simple jump the rope, except it also has you crouch the rope. This minigame is just a maze where the activator tries to hunt you down. Pretty simple. The minigame that really stands out with all of these is the Stalin minigame. This one is just absolute crazy shit. It starts off with just these communist symbols being launched at you, pretty normal. And then it decides, you know what, let's switch this up. We gonna launch fucking nukes on your ass. And you gotta look up and dodge them from the top. So you avoid those, and then 3 cubes of Vladimir Lenin start chasing you down. So you gotta go around in circles to avoid those. Then 2 heads of Stalin come out and start shooting lasers at you like it's Hong Kong 97. So you gotta avoid those, and if you do that, the floor breaks, and then you go into this parkour section with Stalin chasing you down. And the visuals are like super trippy. It's kinda hard to see where you're even meant to platform to. If you manage to do this though, you make it to the American flag, and then you win. This is what I was talking about with Cocainium Soviet Run inspiring another minigame. Like, this developer just decided, you know what, let me take that and just fucking crank it up to like 50 times. This is probably like the absolute pinnacle of Deathrun minigames. Also, happy birthday to Vladimir Lenin. His death was 100 years ago this year. Remember Cocainium? How it was inspired by that one SFM animation? Well, that was made by Dr. Face. And you know who was the main developer on PlayStation? Dr. Face, as well as a few other people. This whole map is based off of various classic PlayStation 1 games, with the main part of the level just focusing on the Toy Story PS1 game. I never played it, but just looking at some of the footage, some of the designs on the level are almost a one-to-one with the actual PS1 game, which is pretty cool. At the end of this, you have a boss fight, which is incredibly unique. I don't think I've ever seen that be done on a Deathrun map before, and it's a pretty damn fun fight too. You just have to run around this guy while he shoots balls at you, and each time he does, you get a small period where you can attack him. Keep doing this and then he'll go into a rage mode sometimes, then you gotta avoid it until he's out of it because you can't damage him. And sometimes the fans in this area will activate and push you upwards, so you just float around, dodging his like the little tennis balls that he fires at you. Once you beat this fight, you go on to Crash Bandicoot as the first minigame. Pretty fun and cool. You gotta make it past this obstacle course where barrels are being rolled down. And there's even crates you can break too. Then you make it to the end and lower the activator into acid, blah blah. Next up is Gex 3D. This one is pretty cool. It's just a section of the actual PS1 game, but it works as a fun platforming course. There's rising platforms and guys that shoot energy balls at you, and robots you gotta jump on. Then you keep going and you make it to the church, and a hand from the TV grabs the activator and you win. Next up is Spyro, which I would say is one of the harder ones. I think mainly because of the patience it takes to wait for these spiders to move to the right position. Like, come on man, I don't have all day! You just gotta make a sprint through the area and get to the platforms where the spiders can't reach you. There's also wizards that block the path sometimes that you gotta kill. If you make it, you save Spyro and he just straight up rams a cage holding the activator and kills him. Then you got Wipeout, which is probably the most boring one. I'm sure it's faithful to the PS1 game too, but it just doesn't have much to it. One positive though is that the activator can actually participate in this one, since he's the other race opponent. And then finally you got The Shining. In this one, you got a coked up Johnny with an axe, and his body is just a 3D triangle shape of the American flag. So then you gotta run away from him and break a window to escape. You do that and you go into the snow maze, which was in the movie too, all while Jack chases you down with his axe. To get past this section, you lead him to a gravestone and he falls in and he's like, oh. Then a door opens and you go into this big arena building with Buzz Lightyear toys as spectators. Then a fucking Mecha Johnny appears and starts shooting Buzz Lightyear faces at you. In order to win this section, you gotta wait for him to start dropping nukes, which you gotta make land on the glass panels with the switches, and you can pull the switches to electrocute him, and he gets more and more angry. Do this 3 times and he explodes and you win. After this, you're then able to choose whatever minigame you want at the end. This is probably the most high effort map in the history of Deathrun. I'd say it was worth it though. I wasn't really sure how to end this section of the video, but thankfully my friend Bogdanov notified me that one of my friends wants to give some extra info on this map, so...
Hey man.
Hey, could you give your opinions on Dr. PlayStation?
Dr. PlayStation? I don't even know what that is. I was waiting for you to like explain.
This map I want to mention pretty much purely because of how utterly insane the steps for the Easter eggs are. The map itself is alright, it's not bad, but the Easter eggs are something else, man. The first Easter egg is a simple trail Easter egg from this fake medic. This might make you think, oh damn, are all these Easter eggs gonna be super simple like that? This next Easter egg, you gotta hit the specific letter B in the creator's name on the wall 5 to 10 times. And then after that, you hit this corner of the wall another 5 to 10 times. And if done right, this song will start playing. Yeah, we're just gonna mute that. But like seriously, how the hell is anyone supposed to figure this shit out? Next up, you got a really strange Easter egg that doesn't serve much purpose. You drop down here and go to this area, and you hit the corner of this wall again, and if done right, you can access this Minecraft room in the water. I'm not really sure what the point of this is either, but it is pretty cool. Also, what is this guy's obsession with just putting invisible buttons in the corners? Now, we have the holy grail of complicated Easter eggs, the music room Easter egg. For this one, you first have to be the activator, then turn around and you'll see a keypad. You gotta enter the code 8723448. And then there's a chance, that's right, a fucking chance that this door opens. And believe me, I tried this like 10 times and it opened maybe 2 or 3 of those times. Anyway, after this, you go into this room, which has the motivator. Now you gotta be careful and only hug the walls here, otherwise you'll die. If you keep doing that, you're supposed to run into an invisible button that if you hit, it is supposed to give you access to the red side. And I say supposed to, because I could not figure this shit out, even with using a guide. Like, there are multiple things that I bumped into. Which one's the button? How do I access the red side if I do hit the button? But anyway, if you do that, you're then meant to go to the choice doors and hit door number 1 2 times, and then hit door number 2 1 time. If you make it past that, you gotta jump down the hole, and you're supposed to get teleported into a music room, which I couldn't find even through just no clipping everywhere on the map. So I don't know, but you're meant to find a gap in the wall and wait for the medic to pass you. After doing this, you would then be teleported into this maze, and you have to solve it. And this maze is huge, like just look at this. You have to solve this whole fucking thing. Anyway, if you do that, you can jump into this water, and then you'll finally be teleported into the music room. I would be incredibly surprised if any person on Earth has managed to pull this Easter egg off in a public server with many other people. Doing that would be a historical achievement, unmatched by even the greatest scholars, poets, and researchers. Something thought to be inconquerable by normal human means, by gods even. It would put James Cage White to shame. Now, what do you get for all of this effort? All for this music room. Let's hear one of the songs.
Oh yeah, my whole life is changed since you came in. I knew back then you were that special. I'm so in love.